Welcome back. Now, 1 in 3 women worldwide experience physical or sexual violence, and many a times at the hands of an intimate partner. The UN says only 40% of women seek help after experiencing violence. The global body is now partnering with women in the arts to help with access to justice. So let's discuss this now with poet Kollega Putuma and Hannah Cameron from Project Everyone. Ladies, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the South African morning. Now, Kollega, if I may just start with you. I mean, this is quite, a very necessary awareness that you're raising here through your talent, which is poetry. How important was it for you to participate in such an awareness campaign, especially given that in South Africa, we just recently came from 16 days of activism in raising awareness against GBV?
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely important because, as you just mentioned, in South Africa, we have 16 days of activism, which is not enough to kind of demarcate 16 days when we have a 365 days gender-based violence issue in this country. The poem that I did for this particular project, for the global goals is a poem that speaks to the statistic that every 3 hours a woman is murdered in South Africa. And so for a country that has a statistic where every 3 hours a woman is brutally violated and murdered in this country, to just simply have 16 days of activism set aside for us to observe or to be aware, to bring awareness to the issue is not enough. And so it's important that we continuously do whatever we can, be it via like creative activations, to bring awareness to this issue because it's an everyday issue.
Oh, yes, it is. And it seems it's not just a South African issue, it's also a global issue. And Hannah, I want to talk to you specifically when we look at goal number 5, addressing gender equality. Take me through some of the work that even Project Everyone does alongside the UN to hopefully shine light on some of these issues around the world.
Yeah, well, yes, Project Everyone exists to raise awareness of these Sustainable Development Goals, these 17 goals agreed to by every country member of the United Nations in 2015, addressing issues of poverty, inequality, climate change by 2030, every day, not just 16 days. And goal 5, as you say, is gender equality, and it includes 9 targets, including to end all forms of violence against women and girls. And we know that in COVID, that this problem has got worse. In many countries around the world, reports of domestic violence, sexual violence have increased. And so, Project Everyone tries to work to raise awareness of the goals and amplify the voices of organizations and activists that are trying to tackle these issues. And so as part of this 16 days, we worked with a production company, Horn Productions, to create 3 short films spotlighting 3 movements in France, Mexico, and with Koleka in South Africa to spotlight this issue of this really a shadow pandemic that is across the world.
Yeah. And I mean, that's concerning, Hannah, right? I mean, when I hear you talk about how the pandemic has almost amplified this issue, 1 in 3 women worldwide experience physical or even sexual violence. And I mean, Kollega, when you look at the South African context, we find so many disadvantaged, marginalized women who are, stuck almost, so to say, in these kind of, relationships with these intimate partners, which still inflict this, abuse towards them. But also, you find on the same hand, our justice system not doing enough to protect these women, turning them back when they go to their SAP. So it seems like it's a ripple effect whereby women are experiencing abuse, but also it seems they're not protected enough.
I mean, yeah, I think there's also, one of the big issues is that a lot of the onus or the responsibilities placed on women to come forward, women to speak out, women to do this. And yes, those things are important and they should happen. But I think that also there has to be like a radical change and a radical shift within the system itself, as you mentioned, that when women do go and report, they also face violences within the system. So violences at the police station, for example, just in September, a woman was murdered inside the police station, Mthatha. So to simply place the responsibility of fighting this issue with women, it's not going to be enough. There has to be support, there has to be help from, the government, but also, men have to come to the party as well, in very big ways. Within the family structure, within the society structure, there's something that men have to do as well to help, fight this issue, because it's not a woman's issue.
Absolutely.
It's an everyone issue.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because everyone has to hold hands and ensure we fight against this. Alongside the goals, sustainable goals, the UN Women, seeing efforts coming from around the world. But unfortunately, Lisa, that's where I have to leave our conversation due to time. Thank you so much, Kollega Putuma and Hannah Cameron, for joining us.